Okay, so here's a story that is bad. Okay, but it's bad in a way that I think is a little bit more funny. So our first story today was kind of just like traditionally bad and stupid. Now I want to talk about something that I at least think is bad in a slightly funnier way. So let's see if we can find some joy in this. So my friend and yours, Bryan Johnson, he's the guy that wants to live forever and who looks like a fucking vampire. Like this is the face of the guy who who thinks that we could live forever. You think that's the guy? You think he's the man who's going to teach you how to live forever? No way, he looks like a vampire. Um, but he discovered mushrooms, guys. Bryan Johnson has officially discovered mushrooms, and he did like a shroom stream, and it's basically everything I hate all at once. So come watch me trip balls, declared Bryan Johnson. Cool, Bryan Johnson. I'll be right there to watch you trip balls. Yuck. He streamed himself consuming a high dose of psychedelic mushrooms at a psilocybin center in Oregon on Sunday, and marked the second act of his stunty new investigation into whether using psilocybin can improve almost 250 wellness biomarkers, including various measures of brain connectivity, cortisol levels, and testosterone. I mean, here's one thing. Actual doctors have been studying this for quite some time now, including the research center at Johns Hopkins University. It's been doing psilocybin research for years. For years. For years. There's a potential for psychedelics to play a more important role in all of our lives. And wouldn't it be amazing if it was also a longevity therapy? No. And let me just say this whole longevity shit. Let's try to bad faith it. Longevity is good because we're acknowledging the inherent meaningfulness and goodness of human existence. If we acknowledge that it is good and produces joy, shouldn't we try to produce the maximum joy or happiness? Thus, we could argue that extending human life is necessarily good if it's the extension of a good thing. I don't think that's true, but we could go there if we wanted. But what it really is like a type of existential narcissism mediated via like really gross tech capitalism and the idea that you can just program anything you want to be the future. I have some thoughts as well on the philosophy of psychedelics and why this completely contradicts it with that. Maybe we'll get there. Prior to construing the shrooms, he measured his brain activity with a $5,000 helmet produced by Kernel, a neuroimaging company founded by the 48-year-old. Oh, so he used the helmet that he made. I just wonder if there was any scientists there. He took saliva samples. Cool. He drank more than 5 grams. You know what? Comrade Bryan, I will say 5 grams. Whew. For those of you who don't know things, 5 grams is a lot. 5 grams is it's a good amount. Let's see. He grimaced, and a bizarre new era of live celebrity psychedelic exhibitionism was born. Here we go. One that is arguably counter to the introspective nature of the drug. Yes. Like turning the psychedelic experience into performance is something that I find so gross. Now, let me be hippie Burns for a second. The interesting thing about psychedelics, I think from a more, I guess, like philosophical, introspective perspective, is that they complicate our traditional sense of subjectivity and relationship to the world around us in such a way that it kind of makes normal things weird again and brings levels of joy or fear or introspection into play. I'll give you an example. One of the first times I hypothetically, allegedly, maybe for performance art, took psilocybin, like went on a walk, and I walked by like this school where there was like a mural of like student art, and I stopped and I was really touched by it because I was like, that's fucking beautiful, man. Like kids out here, people in this world, like doing art, creating stuff, trying to make things beautiful. Like that's really Nice. And then this gets more stereotypical. I went home and I was listening to, I think I listened to Hendrix's Axis Bold as Love, and like cried while listening to it because it's like really beautiful. And to be taken out of the world of anxiety about the market and whatever and reflect on humanity and art feels really nice. So if we want to think about it philosophically, there's that idea that philosophy begins in wonder. And the way I've always thought about that is like, what that means is we normally don't wonder what's going on because we like know. We know how things work. We're all full neckies who understand exactly how the world works. But the moment of wonder produces an affect of like, oh shit, or like, I don't know, or what's happening now. We might have these experiences when we encounter a new idea, or we see a band for the first time, or even like if you fall in love with someone, you fall in love with this person, you have an encounter with someone, and you're like, oh shit, everything's different now. The psychedelic experience, for my mind, is a little bit more like that. And I think at a social level, it's one that should be blurring the boundaries between the notion of like isolated individualistic subjectivity. I'm so sorry for any of you that like hate hippie shit. I promise I'm not about to like pitch you granola or tarot cards or something like that. But the idea that you would turn that into a type of like performance for the sake of figuring out if the substance could make you live longer. Ugh. Like, if anything, one would hope that the psychedelic experience would help someone like Bryan Johnson be like, oh, everything I do is fucking stupid. This sucks. What am I doing? I should make art instead. The 5.5 hour live stream, which has been viewed more than 1.1 million times. Wow. Imagine if 1.1 million people watch this, the world would be a better place. It also featured his son, Ashley Vance, a DJ set from Grimes. This is like a trip from hell. And Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff. If I was tripping and Mark Benioff came up, I would cry blood and try to hide in a toilet. YouTuber Mr. Beast did not show up, which most high people would count as a blessing. Observers noted that live streaming intense psychedelic trip might not be beneficial. Because here's the point too. If one of the points of the psychedelic experience is for the sake of abstracting yourself from a type of subjectivity produced by the constraints of our society, to do so performing on a live stream is to ruin all that and immediately make this experience the subject, and in a sense to objectify that experience and make it the object of others, like entertainment. It's to turn the thing into a piece of content or a product. And there's no way that you're going to have what I would call like a meaningful or as meaningful of an experience. Like in the psychedelic literature, you hear the term set and setting a lot. Important stuff. And if your set and setting is like a live stream studio and a chat and DJ Grimes and Mark Benioff, what are we doing, man? Having the whole world being able to watch you may not facilitate the best outcome, says Ryan Zafar, a postdoctoral fellow at the Center for Psychedelic Research and Neuropsychopharmacology at Imperial College London. Bryan's setup speaks, oh, this is great. Bryan's setup speaks much more to ego enrichment than ego dissolution, and is characteristic of many of his pseudoscientific pursuits. These sorts of experiences are often best held with an introspective and internal focus. Again, if the point of these things is for the sake of dissolving the ego as we normally experience it, everything that Bryan Johnson is doing is motivated by ego. Like, and it's just so dumb. Like, so much of this and so much of our culture now is just like dudes that maybe weren't cool and funny when they were young, who now want to be considered like cool. And if you guys saw the like graphic, he made like a digital flyer for the stream, has this vaguely like Microsoft Paint vapor wavy thing going on with it. And it's just like it's cool. It's fine that you're not cool. You're some guy that did some tech shit and you made a bunch of money when you were really young. Like, let that be enough. You don't also have to be like the cool drug guy. Let's see. Jamie Wheel, author of Recapture the Rapture, Rethinking God, Sex and Death in a World That Lost His Mind, was more brutal in his assessment, telling Wired that the project is a circus of self-indulgence and an exercise in digital narcissism. I think that sounds good. I think that sounds pretty true if you were to ask me. He asked, is this the psychedelic renaissance that all the supposed freedom fighters and prisoners of conscience have been stumping for? Asked if he would like to respond to critiques of his methods, Johnson told Wired, whoever said this, I wish them well. Wow, so the psychedelics really affected him. They really taught him how to be different. He thought that his broadcast would help reduce stigma around drug usage. No, if anything, it makes people not want to do this. And also, I think it's really lame that Hamilton Morris was on it. I used to watch Hamilton Morris's show sometimes on Vice, and it seems very lame that he did that. Billionaire and Donald Trump supporter Benioff joined to discuss it. Yada yada. There's been studies on this. And think about this thing too. Oh yeah, the absence of actual scientists on the live stream was notable. Yeah, there's so many scientists and writers right now that study this stuff and work on this stuff that could absolutely participate in these discussions. But of course, he didn't want that to happen. He didn't want to talk to any actual scientist because they might make him not look like the smartest boy. And his whole thing is he has to be the smartest boy at all times. Oh God. And the other thing with a lot of this too is a lot of what a psychedelic experience or the ideology of psychedelia or whatever is meant to promise is a view of another world outside of what I would say, the ideology of late capitalism, the subjectivity that produces. That's why when you look at the early psychedelic movement in America, a lot of kind of cool shit, even if misguided or a little flimsy, came out of that movement. There was a lot of people that wanted to try to live differently. A lot of people had an experience of being like, oh, the world as it is kind of stupid. What if we made it more cool and better and good? The idea here is, let me prove that this could potentially make me and my friends live longer so that we could commodify it further and turn a thing that should help us abstract from the system into a tool to perpetuate our existence in that system. What it reminds me of is how in recent years, a lot of tech bros and business guys have started microdosing and stuff like that. And if you ask them why they're doing it, it's sort of like, it makes me more productive. It makes me more creative at work. They're not saying it makes me more creative when I'm in my pottery class, or it makes me more creative when I'm doing sound baths, or it makes me more creative when I go to my synth garage. I don't have a synth garage. If you do, shout out to you. It makes me better at doing law, or makes me better at developing tech products that can further the militarized project of the West. That's what they're doing this shit for. And it's if that's where we're at. Oh, that's where we're at. What's even happening? As the peak of the trip subsided, Grimes played what one person called an unhinged DJ set, and Johnson's father joined the broadcast. It was a journey. It was a force that demanded respect. It was challenging. Makes sense. Ego death is harder to achieve when the entire globe is watching. This shit's dumb, man. It's really dumb. And the whole Bryan Johnson industrial complex, this relates a little bit to the story we were talking about earlier. What's her Fulnecki, Samantha Fulnecki. But why should this be taken seriously? Why should I'm so tempted to watch a little bit of the stream, but then I don't want us to fully acknowledge him as a person who exists. Okay, but we're gonna do that. I am gonna show you this. This is crazy. Okay, we'll watch this. Hold on. Oh God. Let's just watch a few seconds of it so we can all see what he was up to. There's Grimes DJ. I can't wait to see what this sounds like. Who watched? I guess we're watching it now. Let's see what the DJ set goes.
mindset.
Yeah, this is stupid. So this is what the billionaires are getting up to. This is what they're doing. This is what the people that are the titans and captains of industry are getting up to. I don't know who the other person was. It'd be really funny to like infiltrate that world as a trip sitter and just seem like you're cool. And then in Bryan Johnson's ear, just be like, you dumb piece of shit. You know, you're going to die, right? You're not going to be able to get out of it. We're all dying. Your mortality is guaranteed. What will you do with the life that you have in front of you? You know, that would be, interesting. That would be interesting to hear. But yeah, it just makes me mad. It makes me mad. I don't like it. You shouldn't like it. It shouldn't make you happy. If it does make you happy, then maybe you need to do a 5-gram trip stream to get your shit together. Hey, thanks for watching this. In case you didn't know, I have a main channel where I post video essays and stuff like that. It's just called Michael Burns. There's a link. Would love for you to check that out. If you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon. You can also hit up either of my beverage partners. There's Yes Please Coffee, who make the best gosh darn coffee in the world. You get 15% off with the code Burns Beans. And of course, my beloved new non-alcoholic beer sponsor, Years Beers. It's really good. There's a link below, and if you use it, you get 10% off your first order. So thank you so much. And if you ever want to watch these streams live, I'm live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific. Okay, now now it's really over. So now you can go. I'm going to finish this. Now it's over. I'll see you guys for the next one.